Hey Eric, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for talking to me, Paul.
Absolutely. We're excited to talk to you because there's a lot to look forward to right now, but this one is so much fun because it'll get people talking, which is exactly what you wanted here, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
hmm And so this one, of course, means a whole lot to you, but I think it's going to mean something to other people because we've gotten into this weird thing with in our country right now where we are so divided and we kind of forgetting about what we do have in common here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's really the issue that this film, The Elephant in the Room, kind of gets into in its own lighthearted way. What does it take for people to be able to come together and have a human relationship that's respectful and possibly even warm when you have opposing political views?
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, it wouldn't work so well if you didn't have the right leads in it too. So I got to know, like, how did you know they were the right ones? Because they do so well in this together.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Alyssa Limperis and Sean Clier play the potential couple in The Elephant in the Room. One's on the left side, one's on the right side, and it's December 2020. So, right after the Biden-Trump election. So it's a very tense time in general. And yeah, I mean, I looked at a bunch of different actors through, their agents and sending me reels and looking at samples of their work. And there were, I mean, Alyssa has a whole online comedy following. She's done a lot of viral comedy videos, which, I looked at some of those and thought they were hysterical, and she had a lot of range. And just to my mind, there's just like an adorability to her. She's like very high energy, but I think in a way that's like very endearing. And I kind of wanted both characters to be that. Sean also, the stuff that I'd seen of him, obviously he's like a very handsome guy who, you can buy the attraction with both of them, but he's got an edge to him, but he's also got a kind of goofiness at times that I thought was going to play well, and that they just seem like they'd have a good chemistry together.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, it looks like it was actually fun to make. It's funny when we grow up, we keep thinking, it'd be so cool to make a movie or be in a TV show. Then you get on set, not so fun. But this actually looks like you're having a lot of fun, right?
We hide it well, don't we? No, actually, it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was a great experience. I mean, it was a long journey to raise the money as an independent movie, and I mean, not some movies take longer, but it took a while to raise the money, and all the ups and downs you go through along the way, and all the stresses of wearing a lot of hats when you're an independent filmmaker, as I was with this. But the cast and crew, which I kind of handpicked most of them, were lovely, got along great, and we managed to have a playful, warm vibe on set and get through the days, pretty quickly. We shot it all in one house, which was the house of some friends of mine who really opened up their home to us and made it feel like we were all at summer camp kind of for a month. The better part of a month, and going to the same place every day, not having to move to different locations, I think was helpful. And just having a loose, playful vibe on set. And I credit a lot of that to the actors.
hmm Well, and of course, you've made some great things before as well, and I know that people look up to that and they go, "See, I want to tell great stories." So much harder than just saying it. So, what kind of advice would you give to those that want to get into this crazy business and tell great stories?
Well, you got to keep at it. You're going to get a lot of rejection, a lot of no's, a lot of people not liking your stuff as much as you hope they would. And you try to learn through that. You try to, you have to have a little bit of a suit of armor, but at the same time, an openness to what other people are saying. Because at the end of the day, unless you're making just pure art, which may not have an audience, you are trying to communicate with other people and affect them emotionally. And so you do need the feedback of, is that happening? Is that working? It's hard to know, from any one person's reaction because it's subjective, if they represent the, larger crowd. But I think it's important to find that balance of being open to feedback while also figuring out what you want to be about, what you want to express, what you want to create, and sticking to that to some extent. So I think a lot of it's about that and just persistence to keep at it.
hmm Well said. My co-host is Drew Pearson, one of our great Dallas Cowboys, caught the Hail Mary, went in the Hall of Fame. And so we got to ask you your Hail Mary moment, the moment in your life or career where you just kind of had to go for it and it worked out for you. What do you suppose that was for you?
Um, Well, I had a few, but really this probably was one of them because I'd
Yeah.
never raised the money to make a movie before. Like this was my directing debut, The Elephant in the Room. And to decide, I'd written a few scripts before this one that I kind of was threatening to raise the money to make the movie, and it never quite happened. And this one, I just kind of like burned the boats, I just kind of said, this one I'm doing. And it always feels like a Hail Mary because who's going to fund it? At the beginning, you have no money, you have no team.
Mhm.
And over time, bit by bit, the dream, paid off, and the persistence paid off, and I started accumulating support of one kind or another, and eventually it all came together.
Oh, that's wonderful. And so, but of course, it's not easy, and as creative types, we're hard on ourselves. What do you keep in mind that kind of keeps you on the right path always?
Yeah, it's a tough one because I think I love this book called The War of Art. It's probably on the
Yeah.
bookshelf behind me by Stephen Pressfield, where he talks about all of us have this force of resistance in us that wants to talk us out of what we want to do. And it's just to know that it's there and to like sort of fight the good fight against it because it doesn't have your best interest at heart. That voice that says, "Who are you to think you can do this?" I think it's really just being aware of it and realizing that half the battle as a creative person is to talk to that voice, is to decide, I'm doing it anyway, I'm doing it anyway, I'm doing it anyway, and keep doing that. Not in a hard-headed way where everybody else, you have to ignore everybody else because, like I said, feedback is important, but I'm going to, with love, with joy, with passion, with commitment, I'm going to just do it anyway.
I love that. Well, I think depending on what you believe in or or who you may get something totally different out of this movie, but obviously there will be discussion. What are you hoping that people will take away here?
My hope is that people from any political persuasion could look at these two characters and say, I kind of like them both. I believe them both in terms of the views they're representing. They seem realistic people with those views. And I kind of want to see them work it out.
Mhm.
And hopefully, people will also just come away with a kind of slightly different view about polarization. I mean, there have been a lot of documentaries and serious discussion about that topic. This is a very lighthearted, kind of heart-centered way of exploring that issue in a way that I hope is like disarming and that people, and I've seen this when we've screened the movie, afterwards people want to talk. They
Yeah.
want to discuss the movie, but they also want to talk about this issue and about their own lives and relationships. I think it spurs conversation, maybe spurs self-examination about because you see these fictional characters that you kind of get emotionally involved with dealing with this, and it might make you think in a different way about my aunt or my uncle or my mother, father, or coworker that believes different from me. That you don't have to change your views at all in any way to be accepting of other people who might have different views. As wrong as you might think those views are, I've really come to believe through working with people that have helped me with this movie who are experts in that whole issue that those two things you can hold the same two things at the same time. So that would be my hope is that people would see the spirit of it, which is about being able to be loving and accepting and looking for common ground and humanity, and you'll probably find a lot of it even with someone who you think is completely wrong-headed and voting and supporting the wrong thing politically.
Yeah, well said. Now, after this, I can't wait to see what you got next for us. What do you have coming up we need to look forward to?
I have a few projects in the works, a few different scripts. I don't have anything that like I know for sure is happening yet. I have another independent film I might raise the money to make, which is a completely different story from this. I have a piece about two brothers, one of whom is a wheelchair user, who are trying to move forward after the death of their mother, where the older brother, who's kind of a slacker, now has to kind of take care of the other brother. They're both like in their 20s, but it's a very R-rated comedy. So it's about that, but in a kind of R-rated form. So that's the next thing I'm working on.
I love it. Well, we really, really enjoyed this one, and we can't wait to tell everybody to check it out. Really appreciate your time today and the great answers, and look forward to following along and seeing what else we're going to see from you next.
I appreciate it, Paul. Yeah, the movie's The Elephant in the Room. It's available to buy or rent on Amazon and other platforms. And there's also a website, elephantintheroomfilm.com, to learn more.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Paul.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye
And thank
bye.